With Starfleet Command and the United Federation of Planets beginning to feel the lack of available dilithium crystals throughout the galaxy, many new starship designs would be created to lessen the burden of this dwindling resource. And one of these classes, the Mars class, would end up being one of Starfleet's best workhorse classes ever created. But what do we know about this jack-of-all-trades starship design? Well, today we'll find out. Hello and welcome to another episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon, a Star Trek web series that dives into the history of any given topic using beta canon sources and my own imagination to fill in the gaps. In today's episode, we're taking a look at the Mars class as first seen in Season 3 of Star Trek Discovery to better understand its place in Star Trek history. Please note, one of the biggest issues I ran into with this class was in reference to the class's size, as beta canon sources have it all over the place. So I did some of my own calculations and picked the one that was closest to my own deduction and ran with it. Also, Star Trek Discovery is canon, regardless of what some people wish was true. And because this channel is dedicated to a love of all Star Trek in all its forms, anyone who tries to use this channel as a soapbox to rant about the show will be shown to the nearest airlock post-haste. Not every Trek show, episode, or movie needs to be loved by everyone, and everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and as long as you display that opinion like an adult, you won't have any problems here. But as always, because this is just a beta canon video, all information relayed should pretty much be taken with a grain of stardust and only considered a little bit of Star Trek fun. And so with all that out of the way, let's begin. It was crunch time for Starfleet Command and the United Federation of Planets as a whole. The dilithium shortage was becoming such a major problem throughout the galaxy that various organizations in the Milky Way were willing to do whatever it took to secure as many crystals as possible, including raid-style attacks on Federation starships, colonies, and outposts. In response, Starfleet Command had diverted the bulk of its fleet to protecting its assets and engaging in convoy duties. But this didn't sit well with most people throughout the Federation. Plans to expand the Federation and explore beyond the galactic barrier had been in the cards since before the Temporal War had begun. But with that event, and then the shortage of dilithium crystals becoming a priority, the Federation Council had suspended general exploratory missions, only allowing limited continued exploration of the galaxy itself as a way to find new sources of dilithium. As a galactic power, the idea of simply being relegated to cargo and defense duties was intolerable. For its part, Starfleet Command would pour all of its scientific resources into developing new ways of faster-than-light travel that would not require dilithium at all. From trying to redevelop the Romulan quantum singularity drive to not use dilithium to regulate power from its core, to developing wormhole gateways that could be dispersed throughout the entire galaxy. So far, all these projects had failed in one way or another, and so, while these scientists attempted to find a non-dilithium using solution to the problem, Starfleet Command would employ additional teams to try and make the use of dilithium far more efficient, thereby extending the life of their crystals. Since the 24th century, Starfleet vessels had used a recrystallization matrix within its engine cores. This in itself had the effect of prolonging a dilithium crystal's lifespan, but nowhere near indefinitely. As with each recrystallization cycle, the crystals themselves would degrade in efficiency, eventually requiring the crystal to be replaced with a new one. And although some advancements to the process had been made, in general, it was still the exact same one that had been used for over 500 years. And so, several team members from the Daystrom Institute would focus on improving and refining this technique. But to implement this test idea, an entirely new class of starship would have to be designed and built. And by the late 30th century, the Mars class would be born. Sitting at a length of 357.33 meters, the Mars class would be designed to be operated by 300 officers and crew members. The design of the Mars class would be a complete departure from standard Starfleet starship designs of the time. in an effort to reduce the vessel's warp bubble size, thereby requiring less power to operate and have the resulting effect being longer use of the dilithium crystals themselves. Starfleet streamlined the structure of the Mars class and added 2 detached and quite substantial warp nacelles. However, Starfleet's experiments into subspace bubble manipulation would only extend the life of the dilithium crystals by a minute factor. As a result, however, the Mars class would still be both warp and transwarp capable, with a standard safe cruising speed of warp factor 9.8 and an emergency maximum speed of warp factor 9.9 for 24-hour increments. Although faster than warp drive, transwarp capabilities would be on a strictly for emergency use only basis, as transwarp velocities used up dilithium crystals far faster than the standard warp drive. Tactically, the Mars class would be as well equipped as its much larger sister classes, containing both phaser emitter arrays as well as torpedo launching systems forward and aft, capable of firing a variety of projectile weaponry. She would be equipped with both the latest standard shielding of the time as well as ablative hull armor. The Mars class, like most classes of the era, would also include a cloaking device, which, due to the vessel's size, was designed to run off of the ship's fusion generators alone. In fact, most ship systems had been designed in this fashion as another way to extend the life of the vessel's dilithium crystals. The Mars class would also contain 2 hidden shuttle bays in its aft section, fully stocked with a wide variety of auxiliary spacecraft. Although the Mars class had been a testbed to extend the life of the dilithium crystals, and had only produced negligible results, the design itself was found to be quite sound by Starfleet Command, and as a result, they would decide to put the class into production anyhow, giving her a jack-of-all-trades mission profile. From defensive and patrol duties to limited scientific and repair assignments, the Mars class would become one of the most well-known designs employed by Starfleet Command during that era. Even after the burn, once Starfleet Command had acquired a new source of dilithium, the Mars class would be a prominently constructed design, eventually receiving the new Pathways drive, making her even more valuable to the fleet, especially as Starfleet ventured out into the Milky Way's neighboring galaxies. Created in the hopes of finding a way to extend the dilithium resources that Starfleet Command had, only to fail in that mission, the Mars class would instead assume countless roles throughout the Federation, earning this class its much needed, yet much deserved place in galactic history. Thank you for watching today's episode of Truth or Myth Beta Canon. What do you think of the Mars class and the historical narrative that I've created here? Do you want to see more videos like this one? Well, leave your comments in the section below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, hitting that little bell icon so you won't miss a single video we release. Want to help the channel engage in experiments to extend the life of its dilithium crystals? Then consider becoming a channel member subscriber or a channel patron. Both a major help that allow this channel to purchase resources and 3D models to keep it going. The link to both memberships is in the description below. Thanks again for watching, live long, and prosper.